Married with Channels podcast. We're back.
Oh my God.
We're back, batchas.
It's been a long time.
I fumbled through our previous episodes just because I know it's been a while.
Yeah.
And it looks like it was October 23rd.
That sounds about right.
So-
should we talk about the reason why we've been gone?
It's been literally, we're on the 23rd recording this now, later in the day, of course.
After the kids go to bed.
Yeah. So November, December, January, 3 months since our last podcast.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't that crazy?
So crazy. Sorry.
And you wanted to say why it's taken so long?
Yes, let's talk about why.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I don't know if our listeners can tell a difference, but you're coming to them live from your new booth.
Yes.
Booth.
Got an audio booth from Studio Bricks. We ordered that. And so I don't know if, I think I mentioned I do voice work. Like that's my full-time thing now. And we tore down the old studio setup and purchased a true vocal booth. Something that absorbs sound, gives me isolation. So if the kids are playing, that's not going to affect me recording.
I have a work meeting, like everything's nice and quiet for you.
Yeah. And so we had to get that put together. We had to situate it so that it is the priority is voiceover, get that set up. And then, of course, after that was all settled, we're like, okay, how do we do podcasts now?
Okay, let's back up and not minimize the first part because tell them how big this audio booth kind of is, roughly.
How big? Well, I can go by weight. It's like a couple thousand pounds.
Yeah, but like feet dimension.
Interior. Well, exterior is probably 6.5 feet by 4.5 feet.
In a
Vertically.
I'm sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
vertically is probably 7 feet.
Yeah, so this is not a small little closet going in this room. This was a major room redo, move everything around.
Yeah, it was quite the undertaking.
It was, and I think when we ordered it, we thought we had more time for. Okay, there's a shipping process. It won't be here for a while, but it came a lot faster than we expected.
It came faster. I think the turnaround time on these normally, because they're made in Spain, the turnaround time is anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks is what I've heard.
Okay.
But this one was quick because it was sitting in the warehouse in New York. And I was thinking about that the other day. It's probably a good thing. Because I was thinking the other day with all the snow and cold, can you imagine taking delivery of that? Which it'd be here right about now.
Well, and let's talk about that. This comes like a Lego set, a giant Lego set that you put together. And in order, like we live somewhere where we were afraid of the elements. And so we moved all the pieces inside.
Yeah.
Before actually assembling. So...
Yeah.
That was chaos.
I'll put a link on the Married with Channels Twitter account. I did a blog post where I kind of chronicled the whole process.
Oh,
and
cool.
That's a good way to check it out, like
Yeah.
what was involved. I mean, the guy delivered it on his own. He had one pallet jack and that was it. And our neighbors had to get involved with help lifting stuff. God
Thanks,
bless
neighbors.
Brian. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
We had
but
to
it's
offload some studio equipment, like just to make room and arrangements for
Mhm.
everything, And so in our world, our time is very limited. So it's really no stretch that we've been working on this project for several months. So,
yeah. And on top of all that, it's the usual stuff, like
yeah.
holiday stuff. And of course, it being winter in the Midwest, people are getting sick.
And also, you booking work, you've had
Yeah.
solid recording weeks where that's all you're doing. So, obviously that's a good thing, but it, doesn't leave time to get, cables buttoned up and things back on the walls. And yeah, so
Yeah.
we're still not quite done, to be honest.
No, it's pretty much done.
Yeah.
I think this is a good setup for us in the podcast. We'll see how it goes. It might need some tweaking. We'll see.
So far, so good.
You know, things are working out. Jody and I used to sit next to each other. Now I'm in the booth. Jody's just outside the booth at my little desk workstation, and we can see each other on a little video chat software. So we're here. We're just separated, if that makes sense.
With a giant Lego wall in between us.
Exactly.
That's okay. Nothing can come between us.
With that said, should we get right into it?
Let's do it.
Let's get into the meat and potatoes. This is a podcast involving TV shows and movies as reviewed by a married couple, and we watch and love us some good TV. I think we'll start with a movie, though.
Yeah.
You want to start with No Hard Feelings?
Yeah.
This is I don't want to say a raunchy comedy, but it's kind of like a raunch-ish comedy.
Yeah.
With Jennifer Lawrence.
Adult comedy.
Yeah. Basically, the premise is she's like a waitress, and she needs a car because she's got to do some Uber type work. And this rich couple says, well, we'll give you this car we have, but you got to take our son's virginity because he's kind of an awkward, not very sociable kid. And she's probably 28, 30-ish, and the kid's like 18.
Which is a little
little weird.
Yeah.
Little on the weird side. I think that adds to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could do this movie where the genders are reversed.
No,
that would just be
kind of predatory.
Yeah.
Weird.
But I think what makes it work in that premise is she's kind of reluctant. She doesn't want to do that, but damn, her options are really, because she lives in this small kind of seaside town. There's not a lot of growth. There's not a lot of ways to progress in life there for her.
Well, and she's kind of stagnant there. Her mom passed, and she got this house that she's trying to keep and save and hold on to.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there's not a lot of job prospects for her, but it's Jennifer Lawrence, and I'm a big fan. I think she does comedy really, really well, and dramatic stuff too. And there's some of that in here, kind of tugs at your heartstrings a little bit. So
yeah,
love it.
No, she's good at comedy. She's good at a lot of things. She's one of those rare actresses who can do, or actors, I should say, who can do both comedy and serious drama. Like she was great in, what's the one set in Philly involving mental health?
Silver Linings Playbook.
Yeah, she's good in that.
Yeah.
Among other things, obviously Hunger Games, but she's a good actress on all fronts. No Hard Feelings, though, was not the movie I thought it would be. I thought it would be more slapsticky. You know, the trailer presents it as like,
right.
As kind of a raunchy slapstick. And it had moments of that, but about halfway through, it got kind of serious, right? It got more like heartstringy, tuggy.
Yeah.
Which I'm not saying is a bad thing, but I don't know. It wasn't as good as I wanted it to be.
I disagree. I liked kind of seeing those characters evolve and how it turned out, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked the sweet stuff and tugging at your heartstrings. I liked it. I mean, there's some comedy in there too. I too thought it was going to be more of a balance of that, but I don't know. I liked it. I liked the whole thing.
You know what I loved, and you're gonna think the reason is like for bad reasons.
Oh God!
The scene on the beach where she's like swimming nude with him, and those teenagers come and mess with him.
Yeah.
I love that she committed. That was her full nudity. There was no CGI. There's no body double.
Yeah.
And I remember reading an article she gave. She's like, "It's a comedy. Why wouldn't I get fully naked?" You know?
Yeah.
And I respect that. Like that's why I like Will Ferrell, because he does whatever it takes. You know?
Yeah.
For the product, for the show, for the movie.
Sure.
And she committed to it. Like I love it when actors, comedians commit, you know?
Absolutely.
Also like Jason Segel, you know, Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yeah.
He comes out with his pecker hanging out. That's great.
Yeah, it is kind of funny because you're not expecting it.
Hmm.
All of a sudden you're like, oh, they're fully naked. Okay.
And here's a little clip from No Hard Feelings. There's kind of a Hall and Oates type of thread in here,
Yeah.
right? And then the kid who she's trying to, who she's essentially paid to pop the cherry of, they go out to dinner and he takes over the piano.
Yeah. Which his character is kind of classically trained, very well,
Well
just,
rounded.
yeah, like he can play the piano, but I thought it was kind of cool that he just kind of learned this song. And I too went and learned this song. It's so
Yeah.
cute and sweet. So I want to talk more about it after you play it.
Here it is. And that's him.
That is him. And what a talented voice.
Yeah.
Like that was really good. I love it.
Yeah, it sounded good. By all accounts, he played the piano on that. He definitely sang.
Yeah, it's such I love this revival of like upbeat 80s tunes done in like these sweet arrangements with strings and piano and just kind of a different take on some of those because that's a really upbeat, up-tempo song.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't hit the same as a poppy kind of song for me. When this is played, it's so like sad and sweet. It's like, oh, you can see that bad girl coming a mile away, but she's just gonna crush you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great arrangement of the song.
Yeah. I love these like redos.
And I can't remember what the other Hall & Oates mentions were in the movie.
Yeah.
Because it's been a couple months since we saw it. But
yep.
And I like that they kind of had that. And he even did the man-eater version. Yeah. And they didn't have that cheesy kind of cameo at the end where Hall & Oates show up for no reason at all,
No, they just kind of like gave him a nod, little homage, pay respect to, but didn't, exploit it, I guess.
Right.
So, yeah.
But No Hard Feelings was, it was a good movie. It just wasn't the movie I thought it was going to be.
Sure.
I'm not crapping on it by any means. I recommend it.
Yeah.
It's a nice balance of good supporting characters and actors.
Yeah.
I forget the one guy's name. He plays like her best friend's husband and they're pregnant and he's always good in whatever he's in.
Yeah. Yeah. Even the cast that played the parents and
Matthew Broderick.
and her friend, like, yeah, it was good. Good supporting cast.
So you like the movie?
I did, yeah.
Would you recommend it?
I would. It's cute.
Yeah. All right, No Hard Feelings, Jennifer Lawrence.
Yes.
It's a recommend from both parties in the Married with Channels podcast. You ready for something else?
Ready.
All right. Our final topic today for this show, we go to the TV, go to the tube, and Fargo, season 5.
Yeah.
With Juno Temple, you got John Hamm in there, Dave Foley from The Kids in the Hall. He'll always be Dave Foley from Kids in the Hall for me.
Jennifer Jason Leigh,
speaking of 80s. And again, Fargo kind of delivers. And it came back to, I think, delivering. I don't know if you agree, but you remember the Chris Rock season?
Yes.
I think that was season 4. That was last season. Right? We'll say yes. It was definitely recent.
Yeah.
If not the one before this.
Yeah.
I thought that season was okay and had some interesting characters and moments, but cohesively, I thought that season was kind of lackluster. It was lacking something.
Now that you're kind of thinking back, reflecting on all of them, I thought it was good in the moment, but you're kind of right. Like it just kind of pales in comparison to some of the other series, I guess. Seasons,
yeah. Like I just finished rewatching the first season of Fargo, and that's awesome. Really kind of has that Fargo movie vibe, but its own thing.
Yep.
And I just started season 2 again.
Yeah.
But season 5, which we're talking about here, definitely kind of goes back to the interesting thing about the Fargo TV show is it doesn't really have a formula. It has things that it needs to have, like that Midwest kind of accent with a
Yeah.
lot of characters.
Yeah.
The cold is kind of a big part of it, winter setting, you know.
Yep.
But other than that, it's more of like this woman's quest to get her own life going. You know, she had a life going. Just to recap, Juno Temple plays Dot. She is the mother of this 10-year-old girl and married to this one guy, Wayne. And through a freak accident at a school board meeting, she's arrested, and then her identity's put out there. And her old husband, who was an abusive asshole, seeks to find her and bring her back to her old life.
Yeah, she fled a domestic violence situation, started a new life, after you're missing for so long, you're declared dead. And so she assumed a different identity. And yeah, she was living a nice, comfortable, regular life
Mm-hmm.
and happy. And then her past, does come back to hunt her down and try and find her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have these kind of subplots that are actually connected to the main plot. And, the show Fargo's never been afraid to have a little mystical or supernatural stuff in there. I think it was season 2 where there was like aliens.
Yes. Sometimes that's a little off-putting for
Mm-hmm.
me. I'm kind of like, what?
Yeah.
What is this? What is that supposed to be? Or, what was this character? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some little bits that are out there sometimes, and sometimes that's hard for me to
Yeah.
accept
Yeah.
in Fargo, but
And I think it was season 2 where they had the aliens, where it was pretty obvious, and it wasn't like are there really aliens there? Or is this like a delusional thing? We're seeing things, but there were definitely aliens,
yeah.
and it wasn't a big part, but it
No.
was. I think it showed up mostly at the end.
Yeah.
This season 5, they deal with some kind of mystical, almost ancient kind of beliefs and
Like a spiritual being that
well,
inhabits a man or has walked earth as a man forever. I don't quite get it.
yeah, I know but see, the whole thing is like he kind of talks the character we're talking about, his name is Ole Munk, and he's an interesting character.
Mm-hmm.
He's very reserved. He speaks almost in third person.
Mm-hmm.
And basically at the end of the season, it comes out that maybe he's been around a few centuries.
Yeah,
But then again,
like, how? I don't get it.
Well, he explains in the end, and spoiler alert, he's sitting down with dinner. He's there to finish the fight with Dot, but she talks him into, sitting down, having chili with her and her family. He explains how he was, to get out of squalor, he was allowed to eat this meal, but it would be the sins of the rich people. These rich people say, hey, peasant, eat this sin, eat my sins. And because of it, he's been cursed with, he's not able to sleep, and he won't die. It's kind of how he explained it.
Yeah. So, I mean, did this happen centuries ago? It's some sort of religious ceremonial thing that happened? Okay.
Yeah. Do you remember the flashback?
Yeah.
It was like episode 3 or 4, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they showed
I
it looked like
maybe need
him.
to see that scene again. It did look like him, but I don't know. I didn't quite understand maybe what I was watching at that time, but now that I kind of heard his words at the end, I kind of want to watch that scene again.
Yeah. And I wish I'd pulled audio of Ole Munk
Yeah.
talking, because it's interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had that scene where it was him in ancient Wales. It looked like him.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's him. And there's this body or person laying down, and there's a dish with food on top of them. and
Yeah.
he's instructed to go over there and eat it, and he does. And flash to the end of the season, he essentially ate the sins, and because of it, he lives forever. And
And is
and
pretty miserable
yeah.
for it.
And what's funny is Dot, our protagonist,
Yeah.
she says, well, you know how you fix that, right?
Yeah.
Eat something made with love.
Yeah.
And he eats a biscuit, and then the show ends with him smiling.
Yeah.
Like maybe, boom, curse lifted.
Yeah.
I don't know, but the show Fargo, like I said, it's not afraid to kind of put its toe in these kind of waters,
Yeah.
which I've come to appreciate. I remember we watched the Alien episode the first time. I was like, what the fuck?
Sometimes I'm still that reaction. Like even watching this one, I know that there's that element in each season, but I'm like, what? What just happened? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a little far out there,
but it's good though. Season 5's good. I never thought I would be convinced of John Hamm playing like a total asshole.
Oh,
like
he does that well though, doesn't he?
He
and
did.
It's kind of scary because you're like, ooh, is he like a jerk in real life? Like,
or is he just a good actor?
Or is he just really good at this?
I know he taught acting. Like he taught Ellie Kemper was one of his students back in St. Louis.
Yeah.
But when he played Don Draper in Mad Men, he did a great job of like balancing this. Like he's a good guy, but he's kind of a shit.
Yeah.
This one, he's all shit.
He's all bad.
And he really dives into it and does a great job. Like he was this like right wing, militia supporting sheriff who abused his power to further his own self-interest. And I love the character of Gator, his son.
Yeah.
He plays his son and his deputy.
Yep.
And Gator's like this piece of shit Gen Z vaping slick back hair prick. But in the end, he ultimately, he was chasing the wrong idol, which was his father. He should have chased the idol of his half sister and or mother.
Well, his father is extremely abusive, and he spent his whole life trying to prove his worth to someone who never valued him or saw him in any other way other than good.
Yeah, his dad always like, if his son wasn't like the bravado male testosterone, ass kicking, fuck the immigrants type of son, then he was worthless.
Soldiers.
Yeah. But there's some redemption there with Gator.
Yeah.
In the end.
Yeah.
But Fargo season 5, I think it's great. I think it's definitely worth a watch. I know I look forward to it every time they dropped a new episode.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was a really good cast again. Juno Temple's pretty good.
Yeah.
One note that bothered me a little bit is sometimes like the ranch setting. I know it says like these events took place in Minnesota, but sometimes I was like, are they in Montana? Like somewhere more, like I get it. Parts of Minnesota are very rural, but this was, it almost felt like a different setting. And sometimes the accents were a little bit more like Wisconsin versus what you kind of hear in Minnesota. And I know like I'm a Midwesterner. It kind of sounds the same, but there is just a little tipping point to the exaggeration of that accent. You know what I mean?
Right.
So sometimes it took me out of the setting a little bit. I'm like, are they in Minnesota or are they somewhere else?
No. So Dot and her life is in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Roy Tillman, John Hamm's character, his ranch, that's in North Dakota or South Dakota?
Okay, more west and rural. Okay, that makes more sense now because I was like, it kind of was a little bit of maybe like a plot sticking point for me just because I'm from these parts and I, kind of know how people talk and what their land looks like and what the farm and the homesteads look like and things like that. So, yeah.
No,
anyway.
that's, They
getting a little nitpicky on the Midwestern vibe.
No.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. No, he was, like I said, Tillman in that ranch was not in Minnesota.
Okay.
But Any other problems with Fargo season 5
Um,
or highlights?
I mean, just yeah, the characters are so good. We mentioned Jennifer Jason Leigh. I haven't seen her do stuff in a long time, and I thought she was really good, and Dave Foley was really good, and just as these quirky kind of characters, that
Yeah.
I love too how little bits of everybody are revealed as it goes along. Like you get more and more of people's stories, their motivations, their kind of dynamics in their relationships. Like, Dot and her mother-in-law, you know, went from kind of being adversaries
Yeah.
to, spoiler alert, she ends up helping out and
Yeah.
really making efforts there. So
Yeah, I think
that was interesting.
I like the dynamic there with Dot
Mhm.
and her mother-in-law. It
Mhm.
started off very much like the mother-in-law was doing everything in her power to get, like, never approved of Wayne's choice of a wife. She always thought of her as a freeloader and a hanger-on who's just looking to get in the Lyon family fortune.
Yeah, what was the line? It was like, Wayne always did like a pretty face and a nice ass, and here you are. It was kind of funny.
But it seemed to be that things changed when Dot and her were talking at the dinner table.
Yeah.
It was like in the middle of the day, and Dot just flat out told her, like, don't fuck with me, bitch. I've been
Right?
through hell and back, and I will fuck you up too.
I thought that was great. She like stood her ground with her, like,
And that's where
I am a formidable source to reckon with,
Yeah.
just like you. Like, it
Yeah,
was
and
nice. Yeah.
you had, and that was the moment, I think, is the mother-in-law's name Lillian?
Oh gosh. I'm
Anyway,
sorry.
Jennifer Jason Leigh's character. That's the
Yeah.
moment her character started to,
Mrs. Lion.
yeah, that's when she started to gain respect for Dot.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely she became sympathetic to Dot because she saw a woman who's not going to be fucked with and she's going to stand her ground.
Well, I think
And she respects it.
more bits of the kidnapping story didn't add up for her. Like, she's a smart lady, Mrs. Lion, and she was like, maybe there's more to this person than I thought. Maybe, maybe there's more here than just, someone who's leeching onto my son and my family money. Like, they have family money too, and she's like a billionaire. So, maybe she's not just a hanger on. Maybe she's a strong force of a woman here. So
Yeah, I think it didn't help Dot that she, after her initial kidnapping, she got back home and just didn't admit to it at all. So,
yeah.
what, you were kidnapped? Like, no, I don't know.
I just went for a walk.
Yeah, like, and that kind of adds a little like, okay, what are
Uh-huh.
you hiding?
Yeah.
Why? We know you got kidnapped, so I
Yeah.
could see where the mother-in-law would be like untrusting. But
Like, who is this person? What are their motives? What are they after? Yeah, she has kind of that instinct to protect her family, her son, and her money, and her, business and her reputation and all of those things. So
yeah,
it starts kind of opening that.
Here's a couple clips from Fargo season 5. They're off the trailer, so they're not the greatest. And this part, and that's the interesting, that was like episode 6, maybe.
Yeah.
It started with him, Danish, the fixer,
The family lawyer.
the family lawyer for
Yeah.
Mrs. Lyon,
Yeah.
going to get these 3 guys' names changed to the exact same name. And it's great how you're watching that. You're like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah. What is the purpose of this?
Yeah. And that's a great thing about the writing with Fargo is they're not afraid to kind of make you challenge you a little bit.
Yeah.
And they make you wait for it. Like, just hang on.
Yeah.
You'll see why this is happening. And then the payoff is just tremendous as to why
Absolutely.
that's going on.
Yeah, don't tell them. It's so great.
Yeah, you definitely need to watch that episode.
Yeah, definitely. I will say a little warning. There are some scenes depicting domestic violence, and that can be upsetting for some people sometimes.
Yeah.
So just, you've been warned. It's there.
And they show a couple facets of domestic violence where there's the one facet where you run away from it, you get away from it.
Yeah.
And then the other facet, his current wife, you kind of deny or put up with it and take the abuse. And it's interesting to see those layers to that. And
then there's Dot, who fights back.
She's great. Like she's this itty bitty little thing, but she is so determined and resourceful and not going to be smart and not going to be, she's not going to take what you give her.
Yeah.
She's going to do what's right and get to her loved ones in her life.
Yeah. She just wants to be left alone. That's it.
Yeah.
Just don't hurt me. Just let me live my life happy.
Yeah. So Fargo season 5, definitely a return to form from the one set in Kansas City, I believe season 4, which is not bad. It's just.
Nope. I like that one too. It has its place,
It was just lacking stuff. I don't know exactly what it was lacking.
Yeah. A lot more concentration on the period, that time frame, and some of kind of those, social issues. And I don't know. Yeah, it kind of did lack some of that. Maybe some of the surprise elements that we've been talking about in this season today, where you're like, wait, what? But then that comes to make sense later, Maybe there wasn't enough kind of that, like, what? I'm trying to figure this part out or whatever. But
yeah. It might be worth a rewatch.
it might, yeah. Yeah.
There's stuff as I've watched the new first season, that I missed or forgot.
Yeah.
So maybe season 4 is due for that as well.
Yeah, all of them I've kind of forgotten, and I think they're good to revisit and rewatch. They kind of hold up, and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot that part about, the wife. And
yeah, they're rich. They're rich shows. Like they're just brimming with character stuff and interesting, new, fresh things.
And the characters all kind of lend. Even the fringe characters lend support to the characters and their story arcs, and you kind of get a little bit of that from everybody in it, even like the police officer with the deadbeat loser husband, how she kind of makes a shift in her life and her career. I mean, even that kind of lent itself to the main story arc, and you just get so much of that. I mean, even in just little scenes throughout the season. So, yeah, good stuff.
Good stuff. Fargo season 5. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Married with Channels podcast is back. Sorry for the hiatus.
Yeah.
Many a Kleenex was soaked with people checking their podcast app, not finding a new Married with Channels episode.
Oh, I'm so sorry, everyone.
I know.
We'll try to do better.
Yeah, we'll get back on it. Things are back to, quote, normal. And we hopefully can pump out at least once a week.
That's if I can stay awake long enough to watch things at night. Yeah, this gets tougher and tougher.
So stay with us. Be a part of the podcast Twitter at MarriedWChans, 2 N's.
Share, tell your friends.
Yeah, get us a good review if you're listening. Always appreciate that. Until next time, I'm Moose.
And I'm Jody.
We'll see ya.
Bye.